What is happening, guys? Wednesday, MLB Members Only main slate, free to the public. 2 slates tonight. We got 11 games for the night slate. Ryan and I did a video for the early slate. Hopefully you guys caught it. Got me solo for the main slate, and I like the slate a lot, so let's get cracking. Like I said, 11 games, so a little bit to talk through. We'll go over pitching and then game by game, like always. Starting at the top, some good pitching options today, all over early slate and this slate. There's good pitching all over today. Excuse me, guys. All right, back with you. So starting at the top, Lucas Giolito, 10-6 at home against the Royals. I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm not excited about spending 10-6 on him here, but I understand it. I don't think he's a must, like, by any means. But I think he's going to be owned accordingly. He's not going to be, like, crazy high owned. He's not going to be low owned. I expect him to be 20 to 25% owned. If you like him, do your thing. I doubt it's where I land. I'm just not the biggest Giolito guy. Hasn't looked quite the same since the sticky substance stuff, so I'll probably pass, but I completely understand anyone that wants to use him. Taillon's too expensive at 10-2. Good matchup against Baltimore, but I don't know. I couldn't imagine spending this much on him. That said, he's been good his past 2 starts, so I don't think he's going to kill you if you want to use him here, and I doubt he gets much love. That said, it's just really hard to imagine him being, again, one of the top scoring pitchers on the slate with all these other good options. He's too. I mean, if you have a really cheap offenses you like, or an offense you like that's very inexpensive and you don't mind spending up, like I said, I don't think he's going to kill you at all. He'll probably get you around the 20 he's got in the past 2 starts, but I don't think the upside's really there. And wouldn't be surprised if he ends up with like 15 either. So, yeah, do with that what you will. Jake Odorizzi, definitely not against the Dodgers. Gausman, I'm interested in. Hasn't been good the past. He struck out 9 guys against Houston, but wasn't overall that good. Gave up 6 hits, 3 runs, and 4 1/3. Was not good the start before that against Pittsburgh, and wasn't good the start before that against the Dodgers. I mean, I think it's risky, but I'm willing to go back here at 9,700. Good matchup, against Arizona. They've been a little bit feistier lately, but I'm certainly not scared of them at all. So I like Gausman here. Probably a little bit riskier than I would like, and I understand why anyone would get to Giolito over him. Even Taillon, with how Gausman is pitched. I mean, you look at their game logs, it's hard not to like Taillon more. I personally like Gausman more, but I get it, either way you look at it. Ohtani against Texas. I imagine Ohtani comes in with quite a bit of love here. I mean, he's not he's cheaper than this, but he's been so good and such a good matchup. He looks good. He looks like one of the better SP1s on the slate. Right there with the guy right below him, Max Scherzer, making his first start as a Dodger. Yeah, it's a tough spot against Houston. Never like picking on Houston, but Scherzer should never be 9,100. I'm not going to call him a must because it's against the Astros, and the Astros make everyone work. They don't strike out a lot. I think Scherzer's probably the best pitcher on the slate at that price, but you can make a case for Ohtani. You can make a case for Giolito. You can make a case for it's hard to make a case for Gausman right now. Taillon's too expensive, but you can make a case for those other guys, no doubt about it. Erod's interesting. I'm not like the biggest Erod fan. Detroit, despite being, pretty good over the past month, is not a team I'm afraid to pick on, like, by any means at all. So if Erod were a little bit cheaper, I'd probably have more interest, but I just like the guys like Scherzer, Ohtani, Gausman more. So for me, not where I'm going to go. Casey Mize definitely not. Carrasco, I've always been a huge Cookie fan. Those of you who are members who have followed me for a while or us for a while know that I love Carlos Carrasco. Only threw 58 pitches last time out. I don't know how much he's going to throw today. You just can't spend 8,500 on him here, in my opinion. Steven Matz, nah. Gallen is a little bit interesting. Gallen was on, I think, the Sunday afternoon slate, and he was really good against the Dodgers. All that damage came in his last inning. Now in a much easier matchup against the Giants, very, very low owned. I'm interested in Gallen. I also think the Giants are in play against him because he's been very boomer bustish. But I think that both sides are in play. And Gallen is a guy I'm a fan of. And at no ownership, I'm interested to say the least. J Happ, definitely not. I mean, I don't know what the Cardinals were thinking dealing for him and John Lester. John Gray, he's been pretty good at home this year, so I don't really want to use him, but not excited about the Cubs. I do think that he's worth a look. Like, I'd play him in tournaments probably over the Cubs. Zach Thompson, not crazy. More solid than spectacular, but not a bad matchup. Don't hate it. I like the other guys up top much more, obviously. Smiley, no thanks. Espino, no. Chase Anderson, no. Alec Mills, definitely not. Not going to use Carlos Hernandez here, but he's been impressive, and obviously limited starts, coming off his best start as a pro. I'm not as inclined to pick on him as I might have been like a week ago. That said, I've kind of been on him at 4K. So at 5,600, at 5,600, you're not crazy, I think, to look here. JC Mejia, definitely not. Matt Harvey's an interesting case. He's on the longest scoreless streak of his career right now, even from when he was, a young up-and-coming start with the Mets. Tough spot, obviously. I mean, the Yankee stack is one of the best stacks on the slate. We know who Matt Harvey is. This isn't going to last forever. But, man, he's been really good. This lineup strikes out a lot. And at 5,300, I mean, Harvey's balled at that price tag. He's passed 3 starts. So I think he's riskier than Carlos Hernandez, but probably has slightly higher upside. I view both of them kind of in the same vein, though. So a couple pitchers up top, a couple pitchers down low, a couple mid-tier guys. If I'm making one lineup right now, man, it's tough. Give me, you know what? Since give me Gausman and give me Gallen. I don't mind, not playing Scherzer against Houston. I like him a lot. If I'm making multiple lineups, which I will be, I'll use Scherzer. But as of right now, if I'm making one, these are the guys I like. All right, let's talk about some offenses. So Philly and Washington, we got 2 weak pitchers on the hill. I think both offenses are in play. Obviously, the Philly offense is going to be a little bit more appealing just because their offense is actually good. Washington, they got a couple good hitters still. Josh Bell homered yesterday. Juan Soto's amazing. So I could see using a couple of Washington pieces against Chase Anderson, but mostly this would be Philly against Espino. The entire lineup. Harper homered yesterday. He's seeing the ball well right now. Hoskins is back in there. Real Muto's seeing the ball well right now. Gene Segura is hot as hell. So, yeah, I like Philly as a stack for sure. Baltimore and the Yankees. So we have Tyon versus Harvey. Not really interested in picking on Tyon here. I don't think he's amazing, but, Baltimore, one of the weaker teams on the slate. Tyon's been good. Just not really interested. And the Yankees, it's kind of all in or nothing for me. Harvey's been really good. We know that's going to come down to earth soon. So if you want to just go all in on the Yankees, do your thing. I think they're probably going to be overowned, especially after going off last night, though. So I'm more inclined to fade the Yankees and maybe use some Harvey here. But that's, full knowing that the Yankees have one of the best, if not the best offenses on the slate. Harvey can certainly get lit up on his worst days, no doubt about that. As far as who I like from the Yankees, if you're going there, I mean, the usual suspects: Stanton homered, Aaron Judge, Joey Gallo, Anthony Rizzo. I mean, they're all in play. All of them are in play. Cleveland and Toronto. So we've got Steven Matz against JC Mejia. Matz is much more solid than spectacular for sure. Cleveland just sucks. I could see using a Franmil Reyes and a Jose Ramirez because those are the guys I'd like on any given day. I mentioned Miles Straw yesterday. He's another guy leading off for the Indians. Didn't do anything last night, but had been really good prior to that. Leading off at 2,300, you could do a lot worse. I'll say that. But really, the intrigue for this game comes from the Toronto side. Now, the one thing that sucks is Mejia has been a lot worse against lefties, and Toronto is full of righties, but they're getting no love. It's not like Mejia has been amazing against righties. They are amazing. I mean, they went off last night in another spot where they were under-owned. I think the same thing tonight. I love their lefties, and I like their righties a lot, considering that I think Mejia's probably out of the game soon. Dickerson back in our lives, like him a ton. He's one of the only lefties that might be in there, so that's worth noting. I just like the whole lineup as a stack. One of my favorite stacks on the board for sure. All right, moving on down. Miami and the Mets. We've got Zach Thompson against Cookie Carrasco. This ballpark, question marks at pitching a little bit. Like, I'm not looking to use the Marlins against Carrasco, even though the Mets have an awful bullpen. The Mets, I mean, I don't know. They're just not really doing it for me. Conforto having an awful year at 198, only 6 pounds, 24 ribbies. I can see using a couple Mets. I mean, they're going to be unowned, and I'm not afraid to pick on Zach Thompson. There's just better spots, so probably not where I want to land. Boston on the Tigers. So this is a spot I can definitely get on board with. Could definitely see using some Boston bats. They were not good last night. That's okay. Not going to go off every time you use them for sure, but they are a very good offense, and the usual suspects are again in play. Rafael Devers, Bogarts, J.D. Martinez, Jarren Duran led off last night. Kike got the night off. I'm sure Kike will be right back in there. They're really expensive, so I'm sure that will eat into their ownership or cap their ownership a little bit. So that's worth noting, if nothing else. Sorry, guys. And, All right, I'm back with you. Sorry about that. Yeah, I like Boston as another team that I think you could full stack at lower ownership. They're expensive. Like I said, that will eat into their ownership. Renfroe homered last night. Just missed another one. He's seeing the ball well, homers in back-to-back games. Yeah, I like him quite a bit here. Then we got the Angels against the Rangers. So we've got Colby Allard against Shohei. So not really looking at Texas. They just suck. I mean, Ohtani might not be amazing here. I mean, I'm not using him in this lineup, so I don't think he's I clearly don't think he's a must-have everywhere, but I like him a lot better than Texas, and I'll have more Ohtani than Texas for sure tonight. I like the Angels a lot. They're another one of my favorite stacks on the board, though. You can't use Ohtani, which sucks, but that will keep people off them, and it makes their lineup cheaper. So Joe Adell, one of the top hitting prospects in baseball, struggled last year, came up, was crushing the minors this year. Obviously, monster game last night. I bet his confidence is sky high right now, and I've always been a fan of this kid. I like going right back there at 2K. I mean, 2K. So, yeah, their lineup is missing big names right now. There's no Rendon, no Trout. Can't use Ohtani here, no Walsh, but they're still facing a pitcher who has not been good in Colby Allard. They're in a very good spot. They're playing with confidence. They got some young guys up. I like the Angels as a stack. We'll see what their lineup looks like, but I like them as a full stack. All right, moving ahead. KC and Chicago. So Giolito against Carlos Hernandez. I mean, I'm not really looking to stack KC here against Giolito, although I'm pretty sure he's got. They just saw each other, actually. Yeah. Used Giolito in this last spot. Yep, he just faced the Royals in KC. He was good. Not great, but good. See this BBP. Yeah, not very good, actually. So, yeah, it makes me more interested in Giolito. Just pitched well against them. Again, kind of falls in line with the other top pitchers on the slate. I don't think he's a must, but in play, if nothing else, for sure. Not interested in the KC bats. The White Sox bats, yeah, Hernandez has been good lately, but far from a guy I'm scared to pick on. The White Sox, are in play for sure. I think they had a decent day last night. Yeah, they scored 7 runs. Anderson, White Yard. So I could see using these guys. We prefer them against lefties right now, but I always like Moncada get better against righties. So I could see using the White Sox. They're in play. They're on the short list. We got Atlanta against St. Louis. Again, J Happ facing Drew Smiley. So 2 older lefties on the hill. And I think that both offenses are in play, specifically Atlanta's, who now is a revamped lineup. We saw Soler, the 2-hole go yard last night. Didn't do much after the first inning, so it's not like the stack went off, but they did score 5 or 6 in the first inning. Soler, Albies. I mean, this entire lineup's in play. I like the entire lineup for sure. Full of good hitters. Freddie Freeman. Yeah, this entire lineup's in play. One of the better stacks on the board, no doubt about it. And it doesn't look like they're getting as much love as they should. And then the St. Louis side, I think, is in play also. Tommy Edman, who I mentioned yesterday, did not have a good game last night. Willing to go right back there. He led off now at 3,200. Arenado, full career of crushing lefties. Paul Goldschmidt, same thing. So, yeah, I could see using either side of this game. I think the Atlanta side looks a little bit more attractive. Cubs in Colorado, good old-fashioned Coors game. John Gray against Alec Mills. So the Colorado side is going to be overwhelming chalk here against Alec Mills at their prices, and it makes sense. Charlie Blackmon, Tapia, Story, Crone, Rogers, McMahon, all of them. I mean, in cash games, I don't think you can get enough of them. And fade at your own risk in tournaments. These guys aren't great hitters, but they've been good at home all year. Mills is not a guy we're afraid of. They had a good game last night. I certainly do see why the Rockies are getting a ton of love in cash games. And if you're playing cash games, I think you just use them. As far as the Cubs go, tougher spot against John Gray, but their price tags were also really cheap. So you got David Bodie at 2,600. I mean, John Gray isn't a guy that, you're not using bats against. That's for damn sure. Ortega leading off at 20. I mean, these guys are just crazy cheap. Stupid cheap. It makes no sense. We'll have to wait and see what their lineup looks like, but they're all in play. And if you want to stack this game in tournaments, I think the Rockies will be lower owned. So we got the Giants and the Cardinals, the Diamondbacks. I like both pitchers in this game, but I do think you can make the case for both offenses, namely San Fran. I mean, Gallen did get hit around in this last inning of work last time out. Had gotten hit around the start before that. Has given up 5 homers over his last 4 starts, walking guys. I like Gallen. I'm a fan of his stuff, but if I'm not playing Gallen, I definitely could see using the San Fran stack. On BVP also. Nothing crazy at all, but the usual suspects. I mean, Posey, who was out last night, will be back in there. Chris Bryant, Yaz. So this is a sneaky lineup. They won't get any love, and I do lean the Gallen side, but at probably very low ownership, the Giants are intriguing, if nothing else. That's all I'll say. All right, the Dodgers and the Astros. So we got Odorizzi against Mad Max. Odorizzi's been solid. Man, I think I like the Dodgers here. Yeah, it doesn't look like the Dodgers are going to get much love. Odorizzi isn't like a guy I feel like I have to pick on by any means. I mean, there are some spots I want to use him, but the Dodgers are really good. Got shut out last night. Sure, they want to stick it to that Dodgers team, or to that Astros team, excuse me. Mookie Betts, I'm sure he'll have second base eligibility soon. None of these guys were good last night, but could definitely see using them here. I like the Dodgers lineup as a whole, and Odorizzi is another one of these guys I am not afraid to pick on. I'm not looking at Houston against Mad Max. It's baseball, so anything can happen. Michael Brantley's 15 of 44 against Scherzer with 8 doubles. So, those are pretty damn good numbers, and he is, I assume, real cheap. He's 2,700. So as a one-off, yeah, I could see going there. No one's going to use him, especially in a lineup like this where you're not using Max. So, yeah, nice slate tonight. I like these 11 gamers. I wish it were a little bit more spread out, but I'm fine with it. Some good pitching options, some good offenses. The Blue Jays stand out. I think the Yankees / Matt Harvey will be a big determination of this slate. The Braves and Cardinals, obviously the Cubs and Rockies and cash games. So, yeah, a bunch of places to go and another fun one. So that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you want more content, more videos and stuff, go check out the DFS 5-pack. And let's catch it tonight. Thanks, guys.